Alright YouTube, what's going on? It's going to be a quick little video on how to replace a radiator fan mount. So first of all, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to disconnect your sensor. Your radiator fan's right here. As soon as you go into your engine bay, if you don't know, but you're going to disconnect your sensor right here. It's this big fat clip that's right here. You're not going to be able to miss it. When you disconnect that clip, what you're going to do is you're going to take this button right here, this one right here, you're going to push down on it really hard. You got to push on it really hard. You got to put some force into it, and then you got to pull it off. After that, you're going to want to disconnect your air intake. So you're going to want to take your air intake off, so that way you can have extra clearance and room to take your fan off. So let me do that real quick. All right, sorry about the wind, but so after you disconnect your air intake, you're going to go down here where this wire harness is. It's attached to the radiator fan. You're gonna pull it, and it should come right off. I'm just gonna pull on it real hard. It's gonna come right off that mount. Disconnect from there. Try not to break it, because that's the only way it mounts to anything. Otherwise, you're just gonna have a loose wire dangling everywhere. So what you're gonna do is just 4 screws. There's one right there, one right here. There's 2 down there. You're gonna disconnect those. They are a 10, or I'm sorry, they're a 8. So 8mm right there, right here. Okay, so once you take out your screws, you're gonna jack your car up. So you gotta jack up your car so you can push this radiator fan through the bottom, because otherwise it's gonna keep getting caught right here. 1, it's going to keep getting caught on your hoses, so you're not going to be able to move it, and then 2, it'll get caught right here in your water pump. So the easiest and the best way to do it is to push it out through the bottom, but you can't push it out through the bottom like this because there's concrete right there. So either put your car on a lift and or just jack it up real quick. So all right, and then before you do any crawling underneath the car, I like to kind of like move the jacket a little bit and shake the car. Make sure that it's not going to slide off the jacket, so that way you don't slide off the jack, so that way you know you're not going to die if you go underneath here. So now that you got it jacked up in the air, you'll come over here to the front, and so you'll have your radiator. It'll be caught right here on the bottom of where your radiator is, and in between your subframe. So you're just gonna use a little bit of force. You're gonna kind of wiggle it. All right, once you got it down close, just like that, we're just gonna touch the ground. You're just gonna pull it towards the front. Pull it towards the front, and it'll come right out. You got the old one out. Now what you're gonna do is kind of like same process. You're gonna shove the new one back in. The sensor is gonna be facing towards the top. Make sure you don't shove it in there the wrong way. The sensor is gonna be towards the top. Okay, so you're gonna go underneath here like this. Fan blade pointing towards you, sensor pointing towards you. You're gonna shove it back up in here like this. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but I'll figure it out. You pull this up, there are little U brackets down there. You're gonna want to get your radiator on that U bracket. You'll know it's on there because once you push it on there, it'll hold it in place. It's on both sides. If my camera will focus. It's on both sides right there. Right here. So once you'll get that arm up. You pull it up. Once it slides over like that, push it back down, and that is the lower radiator mounts. Then you'll take your bolts, throw them back into place. All right, when you tighten these, Make sure that you don't tighten them too tight. They just go on there hand tight. It's plastic that you're tightening metal to. Remember that. So then you're gonna go down here. Camera focus. You're gonna take this clamp that you had before, push that on to one of these radiator fin pieces down here, those plastic pieces. And then take your connector and plug that in. Just gonna push it on until you hear that click. Okay, so now you're gonna throw your air filter back on. Right here under your throttle body. You should know how to put your air filter back on. You'll know it's good and it'll actually work when your car gets up to operating temperature. That is usually when your gauge hits about in the middle. Right there where that little icon is. It's about in the middle, or when your radiator starts to hit, or when your coolant system starts to hit around, I believe 200, 210. That's the main idle temperatures for these. About 200, 210. Yep. So that's the video. I'm gonna go take a shower. Make sure you throw your whole engine back together. Put those plastic pieces back on. Take all your tools out of the engine bay.